Now here's the beginning of this video series on my theory of what Tesla was doing with his greatest work. His greatest goal, and I don't know him very well or his work, and electrics have always been my weak point, which may be a benefit in this series because I don't know exactly everything about electricity. Tesla wanted to build this tower here, which he did in Long Island, in the year 1900. Now we have to look back and away from our 21st century minds and picture yourself in 1900 in New York. No one knew what he was doing. It was like listening to Carl Sagan 30 years ago about astronomy. After the first few sentences, unless you were an astrophysics person, you didn't understand him. But 30 years later, today, if you look back on Carl Sagan's work, it all seems normal. You can figure it out. Same with Tesla. Tesla wanted to give free energy to the world. So we have to ask ourselves, all right, he developed this tower in 1900. It was 185 feet tall and it had a huge brass bell on it. His calling cards have this aura of magnetism or electricity around it. This other part is something he used he just used it for advertising, I think. This is the one where it shows him sitting underneath an electrical field. But I think that electricity was only skin deep, so it wasn't going to affect anything. In order to figure out the tower, we have to look at his work. This was the other tower that was built before in Colorado. And it has a ball, which is a 145-foot mast. Now we have to think, why did he do that? What was the purpose? Form follows function. Now it seems odd to me that there's so many theories about how he was going to do this free energy, but here we are 120 years later and no one can figure out what this one man was doing in the Middle Ages, darkness, no phones, no TVs, no computers, nothing, no help. This is the tower, again, that J.P. Morgan helped him build. And we have to ask ourselves on this structure. A lot of people say, well, he was using frequencies from the ground. That sounds nice, except no one's ever gotten power out of the ground as far as electricity, because Earth is the ground. Another thing about this tower is that all of the struts up here are wood. Wood is an insulator against electricity. It doesn't conduct electricity. If he was getting power out of the ground, this would all be steel, I would think. And then we look at another picture of Tesla's work. And in his later life, he said a lot of things cryptically. And I've put together a really neat pattern theory. Here is his power tower with its halo around it. And here are other ones across the country. Now, if you were in 1900, think about it. He wanted to give power to the world. You just couldn't go plug in. There wasn't nothing to plug in. But if he could find a way to use our dams and push power from this large tower to other towers around the world with no, what do they call it? Let me see. Electricity has, when it goes through resistance, no resistance. But also, there was another enigmatic thing that Tesla did say. And this all goes into my theory. Tesla stated to J.P. Morgan that this tower would transfer wireless sounds, like a walkie-talkie all over the world. He could make money on it. When J.P. Morgan stopped giving him money, he said that he could transmit power all over the world. And another thing he said in his speech was he could transmit matter. Now that's little known, but everyone thought, well, that's just ravings of a madman. The thing is that Tesla, as an inventor, he wasn't a bullshit artist. He delivered on what he did. And like I can say, without this great man right here, who worked 18 hours a day on his inventions, we would not have a lot of the electrical things that we have today. We don't know this much about the man because he worked alone. He did not like touching other people. He had a phobia about it. So he did not have any children or descendants that fought for his name when everyone besmirched him. Okay, video number 2.